Tonight on CTV News at 6. Using steel from Algoma to build military vehicles.
The program creates and sustains more than 650,000 jobs over the next years.
But it's contingent on Hanwha winning the bid to build Canada's submarine fleet. It's dry out there.
We have Sudbury 2, which is about 47 hectares in size. It's approximately 3 kilometers north of Highway 17 and 1 kilometer east of Agnew Lake.
The Ministry of Natural Resources says crews are battling 7 active wildfires in the Northeast. And crucial safety tips.
And we are seeing, especially if it's on trail or otherwise, on public roads, a lot of times of a speed concern or higher rates of speed.
Things to keep in mind as you hit the trails on your ATV.
CTV News at 6 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. So glad you decided to join us on this Monday, June 1st. As the country grapples with punishing U.S. tariffs on several sectors, we're learning of a new partnership announced by the Canadian Automotive Parts Manufacturing Association and South Korea's Hanwha. CTV's Judy Trin is following this story.
A united front to announce a new partner in a plan to strengthen the auto sector.
How Canada's auto sector can pivot.
The diversification plan now includes using Ontario steel to manufacture Hanwha's Howitzer K9 and other vehicles in Canada. The South Korean defense company has thousands of orders from 6 NATO countries for these armored vehicles. Making them in Canada could be an important lifeline for the hard-hit industry.
The economic activity that comes from that deal for automotive is the equivalent of 1 new car plant here. And so what that means is probably 15,000 direct jobs.
The steel in the vehicles will come from Sault Ste. Marie's Algoma Steel, where about 1,000 people have been laid off.
We are the only steel producer in Canada that can make ballistic-grade steel for defense applications. It's a great opportunity to be part of a consortium.
But it's all contingent on Hanwha winning the massive bid to build Canada's fleet of 12 new diesel-electric submarines. Last month, the South Koreans sailed the KSS-3 to Victoria to show it off. The submarine, built by German competitor TKMS, is still under construction. But Germany is trying to make waves in other ways.
The program creates and sustains more than 650,000 jobs over the next years. The impact on the GDP will amount to 86 billion Canadian dollars.
As the economic promises increase, the government is hesitating but not ruling out splitting the procurement.
I don't know if you can categorize, Judy, the safe decision being splitting this down the middle. I think what we're looking at here is making sure that we have a fleet that is interoperable.
Both the South Koreans and the Germans are offering significant industrial benefits. The Prime Minister says he'll make his decision before the end of June, just before the July 1st deadline for reviewing the Canada-US-Mexico Free Trade Agreement. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The temperature out there is on the rise, and according to the Ministry of Natural Resources, the fire hazard is mostly high across our region. CTV's Lindsay Elick has more.
There are currently 7 active wildland fires in the Northeast region. 3 are under control, 2 are being held, and 2 are not under control.
We have Sudbury 2, which is about 47 hectares in size. It's approximately 3 kilometers north of Highway 17 and 1 kilometer east of Agnew Lake. This fire is being held. Sudbury 3 is 2.8 hectares in size and is located west of Secord Road, which is about 2 kilometers west of Highway 69. This fire is also now under control. Cochrane 4 was 0.2 hectares in size, very small, and located north of Highway 11 near Hearst Junction, west of Hearst. This fire is now out. And then Timmins 9 is currently 350 hectares in size. It's located about 10 kilometers north of Gogama.
Lake says Timmins 9 was confirmed late Sunday afternoon and is not under control at this time.
There are 7 crews assigned to this fire. It also received the initial attack through aircraft. We had 3 CL-415s attend, 2 twin otter water bombers with a lead bird dog actioning the fire late yesterday afternoon and into the early evening. There's been no impacts from this fire on Highway 144 as of this morning, June 1st.
Lake adds that the MNR is not able to speak to what may have started each of these fires.
A formal investigation gets completed on every fire to look at the general cause, the source of ignition, responsible parties, if that can be determined. This includes a completion of a fire investigation report.
While they can't predict what is going to happen, Lake says staff keep a close eye on weather conditions. She encourages everyone to stay alert and to check out the interactive fire map posted online. Lindsay Alec, CTV News, Sudbury.
One person is dead after 2 dirt bikes collided along a trail in Garden River First Nation east of Sault Ste. Marie. Anishinaabe police say that the 2 dirt bikes were traveling in opposite directions when they collided Sunday night. Police say a 34-year-old man suffered serious injuries and despite life-saving efforts was pronounced dead in hospital. Both riders were wearing helmets. Provincial police are using ATV Safety Week to remind riders how a simple decision to wear a helmet can make the difference between life or death. CTV's Lydia Chubak reports.
This ATV trail in Timmins connects to a network of trails that extend into the west end of the city. Officials with the Timmins ATV Club say their trails are not engineered, and some riders underestimate the challenges of off-road terrain, pushing their machines beyond their abilities.
It's not meant to ride at the same speed as a motorcycle or a car or even a snowmobile on a groomed trail. So it is a different mentality, is a different culture. Northern Ontario culture nonetheless, but it is a different mentality here.
According to the OPP, half of all-terrain vehicle riders killed within its jurisdiction were not wearing a helmet, a statistic it says that has not changed much over the past decade. While neither the OPP nor Timmins Police had a representative available for comment before our deadline today, LaPalme says members of the Timmins ATV Club are generally compliant when it comes to wearing helmets.
Most of the collisions or accidents that happen, we are seeing, especially if it's on trail or otherwise, on public roads or anything like that, designated public roads, or even non-designated public roads anywhere, is a lot of times of a speed concern or higher rates of speed.
The OPP also says alcohol or drug use was a factor in nearly half of all fatal off-road vehicle collisions, and it says 41 passengers were among the 240 people killed in off-road vehicle incidents investigated between 2016 and 2025. ATV Safety Week runs through June 7th. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
They have a deal. Valet Canada and USW Local 6500 have ratified a new 5-year collective agreement. The union says the ratification vote saw nearly 88% of members turn out and more than 75% voting in favor of the deal, covering Greater Sudbury and Port Colborne. The contract includes a $4,000 signing bonus per member and about a 14% wage increase over 5 years. The new deal went into effect today. 2 First Nations and a redevelopment company are bringing back a Sault Ste. Marie historical landmark as a hospitality and cultural destination. Garden River and Batchewana First Nations signed a trilateral memorandum of understanding with BMI Group today. It establishes a partnership to develop the St. Mary's Paper Mill Tower into a hotel, conference center, and cultural destination. They say the project will create economic development, employment, and long-term community benefits. An inquest began today into the June 2020 death of an inmate at the Thunder Bay Jail. The 9-day inquest into the death of 27-year-old Kevin Mamakwa will look into safety procedures and a lack of mental health support programs for those suffering from depression. You can read his father's testimony from day one by going to our website, ctvnews.northernontario.ca. Well, it's certainly been a long time coming. We can't complain about the weather, sunshine, and temperatures in the 20s. To tell us more, let's bring in CTV's Rick Wyman. Rick.
Tony, you're never one to complain about the weather, but some people may be concerned about the frost, as you can see right now on our map just south of North Bay and Mattawa, Powassan. East of Parry Sound, risk of frost according to Environment Canada. Again, that risk is small, but again, take care of those plants. Systems map pretty clear for a couple of days. We'll take a look at the 7-day forecast a little bit later on this hour. We do have some shower activity, 30, 40, 60% as well. Warmer temperatures in some cases, but a nice weekend shaping up once again. So we'll get to those details and a lot more, Tony, in our 5-day forecast. Back to you.
Thanks so much for that, Rick. A new entertainment and visitor attraction in Sault Ste. Marie made its maiden voyage recently. This multi-passenger open-air quadricycle known as a pedal pub launched Friday. Mayor Matthew Shoemaker and others helped unveil the new attraction from Sault Lock Tours. The 2-hour guided tour is meant for between 6 and 15 users. The owner says the Sault is the first northern community to offer the pedal pub experience. Well, remember that big snowstorm in Sudbury in March? Still to come on CTV News at 6. City Hall wants to hear from you in a survey either online or by phone. Right now, though, we're going to Parry Sound, and this live webcam of the town dock is courtesy of Northern Creations. It's 23 Celsius. We are back in just a few minutes.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Last month, forest products company Interfor announced it would be indefinitely curtailing operations at its facilities in Nairn Centre and Gogama due to weak market conditions. On Friday, a town hall was held in Nairn Centre. Elected representatives from various levels of government were among those attending. They were there to discuss impacts on the community and the region and to meet and speak with workers affected by notice of the sawmill closure.
To come here and do this as a community with some of my coworkers and stuff to support each other and feel that support back, to feel like we're not alone in this, and to have like elected officials and people here makes us feel like valued workers, valued people, like we matter.
127 hardworking people are losing their job, and I cannot just sit there idle. I needed to see what can I do to be helpful, what can I do to help make things change, and there's a lot of room for the provincial government to help. The forestry sector is in crisis right now.
We have been coordinating through our economic development officer resources for them and to find the best places that they can go to help look for new jobs. There was one job fair already in Espanola, and there is a second job fair scheduled in Nairn Centre.
And that job fair in Nairn Centre is scheduled for June 24th. The city of Greater Sudbury wants to hear from the public on its response to that huge snowstorm in mid-March. This was how the city looked the day after the major winter storm, which brought severe and prolonged conditions impacting roads, transit, and other municipal services. City Council has directed staff to conduct a review of the event, including gathering community feedback for improving the city's response to future weather events. An online and phone survey will be available until June 14th for residents to share their opinions. Temperatures are heating up outside, and some creepy critters are also hitching rides. CTV's Madison Merrier reports.
More and more tiny ticks are moving north.
When I first started 34 years ago, if you found a tick on a pet, you stopped everything that was going on in the clinic so that all the staff could see what a tick looks like. They were extremely uncommon back then. Now, they're extremely common, and they can and do carry disease.
In 2025, 54 ticks were submitted in our service area to public health Sudbury districts, and 17 of those were black-legged ticks.
Not all ticks carry disease, but it is still important to remove the tick intact and as soon as possible, which is when tools like tick removers come in handy.
Consider the dogs as being sentinels in their environment. We share our environment with our pets, and your dog has a tick on it, that means you could have a tick on you too. So you have to be meticulous about checking yourself when you go outside and checking your dog.
Stinson says pets should take tick medication to reduce risks. He recommends a yearly protection. That's because his practice saw just a few cases earlier this year due to thaws in February and March.
It could happen. They are on their tick and flea medicine, which helps a lot.
It's a liquid tube that we apply every month, and we've been using it for 20 years on our dogs.
It's a one glove, you only need the one, and you just slide it over the dog's body, like you're petting and petting and petting, and then you could go backwards and see if there's anything.
Grew says if residents remove a tick from their person, they should put it in a container and bring it to their offices to have it tested, especially if it has black legs. Madison Marier, CTV News, Sudbury.
With more than 300 lakes in Sudbury, forecasting the blue-green algae season is nearly impossible. Health officials say since toxic blooms can pop up overnight, recognizing the warning signs is your best defense. Public Health Sudbury districts and Northeastern University warn those scum layers are packed with harmful toxins. In humans, exposure can cause severe skin irritation, headaches, and gastrointestinal illness. They say the algae is easy to spot if you know what to look for.
Based on their name, often characterized by the bluish-green color. It is very evident in the water when a bloom is present. You definitely would not want to touch it or swim in it. Can be quite cloudy. There could be sometimes a bit of what may appear to be like a bit of a scum layer, right? So very easily spot.
Not only should people be very cautious about not consuming the water, not bathing in it, being very careful with it, but keep a very close eye on pets as well, because pets are very susceptible to, jumping in the water, splashing around, and then they lick themselves dry when they get out of the water. So dogs in particular can be exposed to very, very high levels.
Officials remind residents that boiling water does not kill the toxins. It actually releases more of them by breaking the algae cells apart. They add that if you suspect a bloom on your shoreline, report it immediately to the Ministry of the Environment. A new interim president and CEO has been appointed for Sault Area Hospital until a permanent replacement can be found. Greg Zambuzzi will begin duties June 27th. The healthcare leader will temporarily fill the role when the current president and CEO retires. The hospital's board of directors says a permanent replacement should be announced by the fall. And Algoma University in Sault Ste. Marie has named Kofi Campbell as new president. Campbell is currently provost and vice president at Brandon University in Manitoba. He assumes leadership of Algoma on September 1st, replacing interim president Sheila Embleton. All right, back now for a check on your current conditions. Here's Rick.
Tony, we're on a roll. We've got some great conditions for this evening, as we've had for the last couple of nights in northeastern Ontario. So let's check out our current conditions, beginning as always in Moosonee, 18 with the sun. Cochrane, 21, sunny skies. Timmins, sun and cloud, 23, and Kapuskasing, 22 with the sunshine. Just a great night. 22 in Chapleau, 24 Wawa, Sault Ste. Marie, 23 as well this hour. Moving on over to Parry Sound, some sun and cloud, 22 degrees. Meanwhile, in North Bay, we've got sun and cloud at 20. Temiskaming Shores, 23 sun and cloud, and 23 in the KL. And Kirkland Lake, sun and cloud this hour. Does it get any better? Well, we've got 22s and 23s. 23 Greater Sudbury, sun and cloud. Espanola, 23 as well, sun and cloud. Elliott Lake, sun and cloud, 22. And beautiful Manitoulin Island, Gore Bay at 21. All kinds of glorious sunshine. Your 7-day forecast with more sunshine to come just minutes away. Tony?
Thanks, Rick. 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. Next on CTV News at 6. A debate in Parliament after Canada enters what's called a technical recession. And a new report shows that more Canadians are being left behind, struggling to buy food. The health of Canada's economy is the subject of debate among politicians today. The Conservatives saying Mark Carney has plunged Canada into a, quote, liberal recession. New data Friday confirmed we are in what's called a technical recession. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
My work is done.
Mark Carney tries his hand at a home building site, but wasn't taking questions about a recession. After Statistics Canada reported Friday, Canada's economy contracted slightly for 2 straight quarters. Not from journalists nor opposition in the House of Commons.
While Canadians are starving, losing their jobs and missing mortgage payments, and Mark Carney has created the only G7 economy in a recession, he is hiding from accountability.
Leaving other ministers to answer.
Canada is the most integrated country in the world with the United States. They have declared a trade war on us. This side of the House understands that. We will control what we can control.
The Leader of the Opposition should stop running down Canada and join us.
It's the Liberal Prime Minister that's running down our economy and then running away from accountability for it. Where is he anyway?
Conservatives are calling for an emergency debate on the recession, as Liberals don't seem to all be on the same page in terms of messaging.
I do know that people in my riding are hurting. So I listen to people talk about housing prices, I listen to people talking about food prices and about incomes that are too low, and so that's what we're working on here.
I'm not. That all indications are that it's shallow and that we're coming out of it. I believe them.
Late this afternoon in the House, the Speaker decided against an emergency debate, saying he doesn't believe it meets the requirements. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
A national organization representing food banks says more Canadians are falling through the cracks of a system that hasn't kept up with the times. The group is calling for big changes to employment insurance programs, one of the recommendations in its annual poverty report card. CTV's Garrett Berry has the details.
It seems like we're every day in an emergency situation.
Keeping the shelves full at this food bank in downtown St. John's has suddenly become a difficult task.
We're running out of supplies before the end of the week, whereas, we used to be able to plan, and there's really no way to plan anymore.
Things were pretty stable last year, but now demand has jumped 20% compared to last spring.
And at this food bank, like so many others across the country, when demand goes up, donations go down.
Working families are feeling the pinch, donating less and now needing more.
Because their rent is too high and groceries are too expensive and now gas is too expensive.
Not just here, but across the country. That's part of the reason why Food Banks Canada is renewing its call for big changes to the employment insurance program.
We're seeing more people with part-time, casual, or precarious jobs who are struggling to make ends meet, access our services, and they're not covered by the current system.
Food Banks Canada wants to see expanded access, including a new model to better accommodate part-time workers. It's also calling for higher and longer benefits. The group's annual poverty report card shows some improvement across the country, but spending on food and rent is still outpacing income growth, and government support rates aren't keeping up either.
There are certain groups of people who are more susceptible and vulnerable to facing poverty and food insecurity. However, we are seeing many people with full-time work as well who are contending with the rising costs of living because their wages aren't rising fast enough.
More benefits for workers would surely help on the ground, says Leslie Burgess, director at Bridges to Hope. She says she can easily track when benefit payments roll out, and many, right now, are holding on until the first part of the new grocery and essentials benefit is paid out on Friday. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
Postal workers have ratified a new contract with Canada Post after more than 2 years of labor trouble. The union, representing about 55,000 workers, says it voted more than 85% in favor of the 5-year deal, which includes wage increases in the first 2 years. In a statement, Canada Post thanked Canadians and businesses for their patience, saying the Crown Corporation will work hard to regain their trust. Just last week, Canada Post reported another huge loss. To the Middle East, U.S. President Donald Trump says talks with Iran are continuing at a rapid pace. He says he spoke with Israel's prime minister hours after reports emerged that Iran had suspended peace talks. The reason for the pause? continued attacks by Israel on Lebanon. President Trump says there will be no troops going to Beirut, and any troops that are on their way have already been turned back. Trump adds that through highly placed representatives, he had a very good call with Hezbollah, and they agreed that all shooting will stop, that Israel will not attack them, and they will not attack Israel. Earlier today, smoke was seen rising in the southern part of Lebanon. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had given the order to attack targets in Beirut's southern suburbs. Also today, the Israeli flag can be seen flying above Beaufort Castle in southern Lebanon. Israel seized the 900-year-old strategic castle over the weekend. This marks Israel's deepest incursion into Lebanon in 25 years. In a recent ranking of the top universities around the world, nearly all Canadian schools are losing ground. The list from the Centre for World University Rankings showed 37 of Canada's 38 ranked universities declined compared to last year. The only exception was the University of Toronto, which remained in the 23rd spot as Canada's top-ranked institution. The rankings evaluated more than 21,000 universities around the world based on things like education, quality, employability, and research output. Harvard secured the top spot for the 15th straight year, followed by MIT and Stanford. And there's more news still ahead, but first, here's your full weather forecast with Rick.
Thanks, Tony. Let's get into our 7-day forecast. We apologize for the intermittent audio problems. Our forecast radar, not much on the screen. Once again, we've got rain in a couple of days coming up, but we'll get through that. We've got some nice conditions for this evening and for the next couple of days, some warmer weather as well. And really, we've hit a nice stretch of weather, as we are about to see. Northeastern Ontario overnight, clear skies and 4, Sault Ste. Marie at 7, Timmins at 3, Timiskaming Shores 4, North Bay 4. Don't forget that risk of frost south of North Bay and east of Parry Sound this evening. Moosonee clear, Caphurst clear, Wawa clear, Gore Bay clear. Few clouds, Parry Sound to the east. You got the risk of frost. 7-day forecast now. Here we go. Sudbury Nickel Belt. We've got sunshine a couple of days, 25, 27, 25 on Thursday with the sun and the cloud. Friday, chance of showers at 60%, 21 your high, 23 and 24 on the weekend. Saturday, Sunday, sun and cloud above normal. Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, sunny skies for a couple of days. Tuesday, Wednesday, 22 and 27. Chance of showers for a couple of days, 40 and 60%, 22 and 19. Then some sun and cloud for a couple of days, 21 and 23, Saturday and Sunday. It's a couple of days forecast in Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma. Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing. Sunshine for a couple of days, 24 and 29. Showers for a couple of days, 60%. That's a pretty good bet. 22 and 20. 22 Saturday, sun and cloud. Sunshine on Sunday at 25. I like those warmer temperatures above normal, of course. Timiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake, sunny skies for a couple of days, 24, 27. Showers again, 30% Thursday, 60% on Friday at 26, dropping down to 21 on Friday, 23, 24 Saturday, Sunday. We've got sun and clouds Saturday and Sunday, just in time for your weekend. Loads of sunshine once again. Beautiful sunshine, 24 degrees. North Bay, West Nipissing, sunny skies Tuesday and Wednesday, 24, 27. Thursday, 26, sun and cloud, chance of showers at 60% on Friday. Unfortunately, to start off your weekend, but that could change. 21 your high, 23 Saturday, sun and cloud. Sunday, sun and cloud at 24, again above normal. So a nice looking forecast, maybe with the exception of a day or so of rain. Let's roll that pick of the day, James, if you will, sir. Well. Look what I found here in my backyard. My new friend, Marie Wendy Lynn Hill, again in Sault Ste. Marie. It's Wendy Lynn Hill in Sault Ste. Marie. This was taken Whitefish Island in the Sault Ste. Marie area, so a nice pick. You got to eat sometimes, so hey, friends can do that too. More news coming up after the break.
A multi-use sports project that includes field repair, 2 new FIFA-sized soccer pitches, and a cricket pitch is going before North Bay City Council tomorrow, but the price tag is more than expected. CTV's Eric Tashner tells us more.
The proposal to build 2 FIFA-sized soccer fields and a new cricket field at the Steve O'Michel Sports Complex is going to cost more than expected. Originally pitched at $3.3 million, it's now pegged at $4.8 million.
It has been very challenging to really nail down based on previous construction histories.
The entire multi-use field project was estimated to cost $5.4 million, but now it's come in at $6.2 million.
We have 6 cricketing teams in North Bay. North Bay is the only city in Northern Ontario that doesn't have a proper cricket facility, not even one.
The Ontario government is covering close to $1.7 million of the project's cost. If council chooses not to proceed, the city would have to forfeit that grant money.
In North Bay, we're rock, swamp, trees, water. So when we look at other communities in Southern Ontario, their land might be different for them to have different costs that might be less than ours.
Northern Ontario is a challenging environment.
An additional $854,000 is needed to complete both the soccer field repair and the multi-use field construction. Including lights will add an extra $1.56 million to the cost.
If we could afford lights, we put them in, and that hopefully there's another grant down the road and we can do that.
Councillor Tanya Vrebosch is worried about completing partial projects.
I'd rather do it once, do it right. Because if you don't have the lighting in place, can they play as much as we want? Then we're not going to get the revenue from the rentals, right?
If we can have a proper facility, we can bring in a lot of teams from down south, Toronto, who are ready to come here to compete with Northern Ontario.
Construction of the multi-use field is slated to be completed in November if given the green light. The field repairs would begin early September with a target completion date of April 2027. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
A major penalty for Cricket Canada, which has been suspended by the International Cricket Council. The sport's governing body announced Cricket Canada's suspension with, quote, immediate effect due to serious breaches of its membership obligations. The International Council went on to say the decision was mindful of the importance of protecting the interest of Canadian players, making sure they are not disadvantaged by governance issues. Canadian players are eligible to compete in sanctioned events during the suspension. The Anderson Farm Museum Heritage Society in Greater Sudbury is looking for volunteers. A lack of resources and manpower meant the popular Rock the Farm summer concert series was postponed this year. Organizers say they just don't have enough behind-the-scenes hands right now to manage the logistics of the weekly event. Instead, the Society is focusing on recruiting. It's looking for the community to step up and help fill various roles.
It could be, supporting at some of the produce markets that we do, or, helping us manage traffic, or just kind of set up and take down as well. So that's one aspect. We also are actively seeking board members. If somebody wants to be in a leadership role and help us, plan out and prepare events, we certainly would love to talk to you as well.
Those with time to give who want to get involved with the farm's upcoming activities can contact the Heritage Society directly. Some are calling it a game changer. Still ahead on CTV News at 6. An experimental drug is doubling the survival time in patients with advanced pancreatic cancer.
Clothing consideration provided by
Fashion Fair. Beautiful clothing for today's woman, where quality makes the difference.
In 2018, Health Canada set a target that fewer than 5% of Canadians would be using tobacco by 2035. Progress was being made on that, but as CTV's Pauline Chan tells us, new products mean nicotine use is on the rise again.
Imperial Tobacco launched the first nicotine pouch in Canada in 2023. They used lifestyle advertising with happy young people in a social setting or in association with athletics, just like cigarette lifestyle advertising of the past.
So now, while tobacco use is declining, the Canadian Cancer Society says nicotine use is once again on the rise, especially in young people.
The overall trends in nicotine use are very discouraging. Among high school students in grade 12, Canada-wide, 27% are vaping. That is stunningly high.
They're asking health officials to set an additional target of under 5% nicotine use by 2045.
Part of the concern is that vaping products and nicotine pouches have become gateways to nicotine addiction. And once you're addicted, you might be addicted for life. You might be switching later to smoking or other tobacco products or to vaping.
Vaping is particularly high among teens and young adults. For nicotine pouches, it's people in their 20s.
As of 2022, we have 730,000 Canadians who vape who have never smoked. That's undoubtedly higher today.
The message is aimed at federal and provincial health authorities.
Across the country, we should have minimum age 21 for tobacco and e-cigarettes, as PEI has done. There should be a ban on promotional incentives and price promotions, as Nunavut has done. Smoke-free outdoor places in all provinces. A ban on online sales, higher tobacco taxes, fewer retail locations, and a national ban on flavors in e-cigarettes.
The Canadian Cancer Society says tobacco kills about 46,000 Canadians a year and is a leading preventable cause of cancer, stroke, heart disease, and more. Pauline Chan, CTV News, Toronto.
A breakthrough in the treatment of one of the deadliest forms of cancer. Doctors are singing the praises of a new drug designed to treat pancreatic cancer. The experimental drug, known as daraxonrasib, seems to double life expectancy. It targets gene mutations present in up to 90% of pancreatic cancers. The drug, taken once daily, reduced the risk of death by 60% and extended lifespan from 6.7 months from diagnosis to death to more than 13.2 months. Doctors say the implications could be huge, and the drug could be used for other cancer treatments. As Canada tightens its response to the growing Ebola outbreak abroad, some health professionals in Montreal say containing the virus starts far from our borders. CTV's Lawrence Brisson-Dubray explains.
While the Ebola outbreak continues to grow in parts of Central and East Africa, health experts here say the world cannot afford to look away. Infectious disease specialist Dr. Don Vin says containing the outbreak requires more than tightening borders.
When the UN and the WHO calls for urgent funding from other countries and medical supplies and personal protective equipment for healthcare workers and operational support for local response teams, that cannot be token gestures.
He says the risk of a major outbreak in Canada remains very low. Cases are rising rapidly in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, and South Sudan, and conflict, poverty, and fragile healthcare systems are helping drive transmission. Last week, Ottawa expanded its response. Canada now requires additional screening measures and has suspended some immigration and travel authorizations for residents of affected countries. But the former president of Doctors Without Borders says restrictions can come with consequences.
When we close border, the biggest issue about that is the fact that often it means that you are closing the number of flights, meaning that there's not as much aid that may be able to come in. It might be much more difficult as well for aid worker to come and give a hand.
Joanne Liu says political pressures can also influence these decisions.
There's this obsession to have an Ebola-free FIFA game, and it's not based on science, it's based on fear.
Liu says the challenge is made worse for affected countries because of shrinking international support.
The U.S. has cut in terms of its aid, but so did so many wealthy countries, including Canada.
For Vin, that's exactly the problem. He says the world cannot expect to contain the outbreak without helping the communities at its center.
Science doesn't rely on hope, it relies on work and investment, and that's what we need to do, and we have to do this collectively.
For these experts, the focus shouldn't just be on keeping Ebola out. It should also be on helping the communities already living through it. Laurence Brisson-Dubreuil, CTV News.
It's estimated about 500,000 Canadians own timeshares, although the majority of properties are outside the country. You can also purchase timeshares in Canada, and if you do, it's best to study contracts carefully before making a commitment. CTV's Pat Foran has details.
I just want to get out of it.
Gerlin Galligan of Toronto saw an ad on Facebook to have a 3-day, 2-night stay at a resort in Collingwood. It was a promotional offer with a discounted price, and she had to agree to sit through a sales presentation.
They offered us timeshare.
Galligan signed a contract to pay almost $22,000 for a vacation package and agreed to pay $205 per month for 2 years. After that, the payments will increase to $309 at almost 17% interest for 96 months. She says she was unaware there were also annual fees.
Like if I should have known that I will be paying $1,200 to $1,600 yearly even if you're not using the resort, I would never sign it.
She signed the contract in October and decided in November she wanted to cancel it, but by then it was too late as the 10-day cooling off period had passed.
There's no way out. It's very unfair for consumers that it's only 10 days.
Galligan signed the contract with Vitality Vacations of Collingwood. A spokesperson told CTV News Vitality Vacations operates in full compliance with Ontario consumer protection laws. Ms. Galligan contacted our team to cancel. At that point, her loan had already been processed and funded. CTV News reached out to the Canadian Resort and Travel Association, which tries to educate consumers on timeshares.
You are obligated under a contract. There's a loan that's involved. There's a financing that's involved in this, and there's an obligation to stay for the term.
Getting out of a timeshare contract is difficult, and companies that claim they can cancel timeshare contracts for a fee may not be able to.
That is absolutely not real. Some people take advantage of poor consumers that are just trying to find an exit.
Galligan says she regrets signing the contract.
I want to share my story for other people to be very careful into getting into timeshares.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Backrooms is the #1 movie in North America after a big debut weekend. Rick Damigella has more in the Hollywood Report.
Look, I know how this sounds, but you gotta understand, it's massive in there.
Backrooms debuted to more than $81 million in its opening weekend. Its 20-year-old director Kane Parsons is now the youngest filmmaker to reach #1 at the domestic box office. Prior to the film's opening, he indicated the story goes beyond the film.
Narratively, an outline exists and has existed since 2022, and I would say everything that's happened thus far has all been in accordance with that outline. So it's, I can't speak to exactly what's going to happen in the future, but narratively, there's a thing to unfold there.
Halt! Who goes there? Whoa, whoa, whoa! I come in peace.
More box office news as Deadline reports Toy Story could clean up. Deadline predicts Toy Story 5 could open to $150 million at the North American box office. If it happens, it could mark a new franchise record.
Anything you can dream about, you can create.
A Minecraft movie's new name. Warner Brothers has announced the sequel to the 2025 game-to-movie adaptation will be called A Minecraft Movie Squared. It's scheduled to hit theaters July of 2027. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
As we told you earlier in our show, South Korean defense company Hanwha says it will use Canadian Algoma steel to make military vehicles, but there's a catch. Here's BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez.
That catch is the company would have to win the bid to build Canada's next generation submarine fleet. Hanwha says the military vehicles would be made in Canada by Canadian workers. Our military needs 250 armored vehicles to use in the Arctic. The winner of the contract will be announced by the end of June. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 72.26. West Texas Intermediates up close to $5 to 92.16. Western Canadian Select down over $1 to 71.43. And the TSX lost 34 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
And here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold down $56.21, closing the day at $44.8298 US an ounce. Silver slipped 46 cents, ending at $74.82. Copper up 10 cents, closing the day at $6.28. And nickel rose 3 cents, ending at $8.57 US a pound. And Rick is back now for one last look at your Tuesday weather.
Tony, more sunshine in the forecast. You'll love the temperatures as well. Greater Sudbury 25, Timmins 24, Sault Ste. Marie 22, all with glorious sunshine. The story pretty well the same in North Bay at 24, Temiskaming Shores 24. Maybe the odd exception, Perry Sound, some sun and cloud at 22. So you can expect some sunshine for the next couple of days. Then we've got some showers rolling in, Tony, perhaps 30, 40, even 60% by Friday. But again, Sun and cloud will return Saturday and Sunday. So enjoy that sunshine, Tony. Back to you.
I will. Thanks so much for that, Rick. And finally, this hour, divers in Nova Scotia have taken their passion for underwater exploring to new depths. The mission is now focusing on collecting as much garbage as possible. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth has more on the unique cleanup.
See around that rock right there? That's where the car is.
Lyndon Morrison and Sean McMullen spend most of their free time underwater in the ocean, lakes and rivers. It all began a few years back when McMullen was looking for old bottles.
Then I started seeing all the trash when I was diving, and so I started taking everything with me, and that kind of turned me into an environmentalist.
Morrison and McMullen met each other several years ago at a Nova Scotia beach and quickly discovered a shared passion. Following every dive, they share videos of their findings on social media.
I feel a sense of accomplishment every time I come out and load up the truck, sort it, and put stuff where it belongs.
They always come ashore with a treasure trove of garbage. Tires, shoes, laptop computers, cans, and old-style stubby beer bottles. This Mountain Dew bottle is a throwback to the 1980s.
That bottle is at least 40 years old for sure.
Sean and Lyndon both say every time they go into the water, it's fun, it's environmental, and an opportunity to leave their province cleaner and better than the way they found it.
We're on a mission to clean it up
and raise awareness about pollution. They want people to know locations like this may look scenic, but are also heavily polluted.
There's a trash problem in this province.
These two divers are trying to fix it and collect as much trash as possible, one dive at a time. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Lakeside, Nova Scotia.
And good work there. Folks, thanks for watching CTV News at 6. I'm Tony Ryma. More news at 11:30 with Amanda Hicks. Good night.